live.
We're doing it live.
We're doing it live,
All right,
guys.
Chris. It's been a hot second, buddy, since you and I have done some good old pro wrestling sim.
Oh, very much so. Good times ahead.
Good times are ahead. Good times are coming, my friend. So let's talk about what have you been up to? What have you been watching wrestling and whatnot?
I mean, I'm big 2.0, or I still call it 2.0, big NXT guy.
Yeah. I would call it 2.0. You know what I mean?
It's still not the same as before. In my opinion, I like this better because it's less guys that are established. Like, this is more character building. This is what it was always meant to be, and it really always was. But now there's no excuse of people. Now people can't really make the excuse about the fact. Because that was always the thing, is people always tried to pretend that it was never a third brand. It really wasn't.
Yeah,
you don't have your third brand with guys that are learning how to wrestle after being football players.
Yeah, now it's like guaranteed developmental,
Yeah, now it's 90% of the guys that are in there some of the guys came from not even wrestling backgrounds. Like Grayson Waller was I'm pretty sure he was more of just like he was more of like a streamer type guy. He was more of a like entertainment type person. Obviously Braun Breaker came from football.
Yeah. Well, he has the legacy there.
Well, yeah, he has the legacy and whatnot, but then there's a bunch of people in there who just, especially this whole WWE NIL deal where they're getting all these college athletes in there.
Yeah, I think that'll definitely work out in their favor, and it's good for them to get paid. So I mean, because they're grown adults. That's like the weirdest argument. Is should college athletes be paid? And it's like, well, they have to make money. Like, even if they fail and or even if they succeed and make millions of dollars, but if they fail, that's time that they're not going to get that money back, and time, and have to do something else. So very big risk versus reward there, but at least the NIL.
There is no risk without reward, though.
Yeah.
I've told you for years, you got to spend money to make money.
You got to spend money to make money, and that's why Segue, we're here, Pro Wrestling Sim, for HOPW. I've been grinding away on this save for 7 years, not in real life, but in the game. And I am a cult-sized company. I am now able to get on TV. We are about in the middle right now, it says, for crowd to wrestling ratio, impact, danger, violence. We have a real sports feel, and they expect storylines. 40 popularity in North America. Let's talk about our champions, though. Liv Morgan, women's champion. Chad Gable, shush please. World champion. Jay Briscoe and Mark Briscoe, tag team champs. And Eddie Kingston is the Mark Madden Memorial Trophy champion holder thing. If you're wondering about that one, well, the storyline is, to catch you guys up to speed, Mark Madden is Eddie Kingston's good friend. He had dinner with his mama. Well, Mark Madden got kicked off of commentary. Excalibur took his place, and Eddie Kingston wasn't having any of that. So Eddie Kingston's been harassing him on commentary. He even went in, had a Mark Madden Memorial Trophy created, put together a tournament, beat up everybody there. Had a very.
So is Mark Madden dead?
Mark Madden's not dead. So
no, I like it. I can really get behind a memorial tournament for someone who's not even dead.
Yeah, well, didn't they do that for Kevin Nash? I feel like that was a thing that was done.
Something similar to that was done in TNA with Kevin Nash. Yes,
I think I remember something goofy.
It was with somebody. It was like with one of those older guys. Something was done where he was like, you know what? I'm going to create a memorial tournament. He's like, it's still alive.
So let's start.
What are we memorialing?
Let's get us on TV, okay? So we have HOPW Breakdown. It is every Sunday, but we might move it to, because it was a weekly Sunday show. But I'm feeling let's move it to a different day, and let's put it on the air. Let's see what we got here. So let's edit it. Well, there's no wrestling on Wednesday, as Chris says, so I think we'll put it on Wednesday. How's that sound?
There's not. That'd be a perfect day for wrestling.
We'll update it and have the event there, and we'll do a network deal. View networks. So we have a lot of networks here. It clearly want to be on TV compared to like online. I mean, we could put it online. We could do Peacock, you know, or just put a network, Netflix, Disney. But I think let's look at TV, North America. There's A&E, ABC, BET, CBDE. I'm just kidding.
What about
FX,
FX? How
Disney.
big's FX?
FX is average. We could do HBO. HBO is a pretty damn good one. We could be on MTV for the meme Spike, Sci-Fi, USA. I don't feel like going on USA, but
We could do Spike or FX.
let me see. So Spike.
I was gonna say, what is like the amount of homes
Small
that like we
area.
can get? Like, does it have like a viewership?
Yes, so we have a minimum viewership of 37,000 we need to reach. The content library size is average, which means that they have more shows. So people would be like, it's just random shit like The Simpsons, Family Guy, South
Oh
Park.
yeah.
So if they have other shows on there outside of wrestling, then they're more likely to be like, oh, you know, they'll find it. And the network size is also like the expanding reach of it.
Let's take that one then.
Sorry about that. That was working. So we have a pay per show average free distribution model compared to like HBO. We have to subscribe for it. So we're gonna negotiate a deal here. Traditional wrestling show. This is for HOPW breakdown. Let's try to negotiate for 3 years. Just right off the bat. It's a live show. We're on Wednesdays. And let's try to go for prime time. So it's saying that prime time is 100% of possible audience. The network average viewership is 382,000. Our potential viewership is 1.4 million. So let's accept the deal. And we're live, pal. We have a deal with FX. And yeah, I'm thinking though, maybe doing a 2-hour show though. I think we'll do a 2-hour show. We'll really start jumping up. So, and then we'll start worrying about pay-per-views here in a bit. Let's at least get our, you know, our foot down by establishing Breakdown as a go-to instead of like a Sunday show where you just go out locally, hang out with some buddies, you see a little wrestling.
Yeah, let's make it more
This sort of thing.
mainstream.
Yeah, and with that being said, we need to create a new title. We need a mid-card title. This is the FX Championship. You know,
Dude, if we could get somebody to give us an FX championship
I think it's called
design.
World Championship, World Tag Team. Yeah, I think we'll just call it a Prestige Medium, men only, defendable yes, title type singles, HPFX. And let's see what generic belt designs we have. So we have a good bit. We can go with the good old McDonald's United Championship. Go with the Pizza Hut. Dude, I'm sending that to Connor, the manager of Pizza Hut right there.
The Pizza Hut
The
championship.
Waffle House Championship for my boys. Dude, I want to get some Waffle House. What to pick? There's a lot of beautiful belts here. A lot of beautiful belts. Don't know anything that's really sticking out here. Like I want that one in particular. Maybe I'll use this. This. What do you think about the international or the intercontinental one here?
Oh, I like that international looking one.
This one with the black strap.
Yeah.
The winged eagle. So we'll create it there. We'll crown it. And I think 2 hours will give us enough to do tag team stuff, world title, women's, mid card, all that. So So our announce team for this show is currently we got Excalibur and Eddie Kingston. Should we pick up a third man?
I think we need to pick up a third man to carry that team.
Okay, so let's go here.
Now that we're on TV, we need somebody that's going to carry it.
Let's go announcer. Let's see attire. And let's just sort it by entertainment. So we got some big ones here. I mean, shit, we could really get Vince McMahon to jump ship here. So
what about Michael Cole?
These are our heavy contenders. We got Michael Cole, Jesse Ventura, Vince McMahon, Eric Bischoff, Tony Schiavone.
Or Josh Matthews.
Crazy. Have you heard some Jesse Ventura stories?
Oh no, he's nuts. Like that's the one I don't want in this company because I'm pretty sure that would be a bad idea.
Who'd you say? We have Michael Cole and who else?
Josh Matthews.
I like Matthews. He's a good one too. 3,000 versus 9,000. Let's get Josh Matthews, and he will be our first written deal.
Yes.
We are now moving up in the world to have a written deal, and I want him to be a. Does it really matter if he's an announcer? Does he need a gimmick? Maybe a classic heel, I guess. Cocky. Making sure he doesn't have any of these weird things like iron vetoes. And we'll sign him for like 3 years, you know, for as long as we're on TV. So hopefully we'll keep this deal longer. But there's our first written deal. And now we need to start locking down some people. Let's go pick up a couple extra people here. Hireable. Let's see who's at the very top of the list for wrestling skill. Or not wrestling skill, but probably North American popularity. So we got Ray, we got Trish, Paul Roma, some Lou, Riggs. Man, we don't have like a big really list to kind of work off of, do we? No, I don't know if there's anyone necessarily I want to pick up just yet.
I can't see any names that really stick out to me.
Yeah, that's the thing. Could get AJ for the women. There's Gail Kim there. I don't know. I guess let's just start off the show and see how we do right off the bat. So let's take the next show. HPW breakdown. Break it down. Dun, dun, dun. Gotta keep my eye in case anybody, they don't renew their contract, we can nab them up. So we're now playing a whole different game. We're playing the game of nabbing people up. I can see our sponsorship money and everything's gonna start going up. All right, HPW breakdown. Let's go and book it here. Start off the show pretty big. We actually we need an authority figure. I'm always big on authority figures. So maybe we don't necessarily need a 30 figure the very first show. Let's start off with our commentary team, kind of welcoming everybody. We got Excalibur, Eddie Kingston, our boy Josh Matthews. Where's he at? We'll give him like 5 minutes kind of welcome everybody to the first episode of HW Breakdown live on FX, where tonight we're going to crown our FX champion. And the very first match people will see here tonight, let's start off with some big tag team action. What do you think, Chris?
Let's do it.
Let's see. You a big fan of Red Dragon? How do you feel about Red Dragon? You like Bobby
I like
Fish
Red
now?
Dragon.
All right, now how do you feel about Red Dragon taking on Muhammad Hassan and Mansoor? The
Ooh,
social
I like that
dancing.
even better.
That's good stuff. All right, we'll give him like we'll give him 15 minutes out there. It's a pretty big-ish match. Well, maybe 20 minutes. Because now we're on paper, not paper, but now we're on TV a little bit longer. I think I do 20 minutes for these. So we'll do 20 minutes. We gotta have Muhammad Hassan looking strong. All right. After that, he's gonna cut a promo on the Briscoes. All right. He's gonna be talking smack about these redneck boys. A little risky factor here, but I mean we are in FX, so it'll be okay, I think. Give me a match, Chris. What are you thinking? You want to do some high flying stuff? You want to do some women's action? You want to do just a fun little match? What are you feeling?
Let's do some high flying stuff.
All right. So in terms of our high flyers, again, quick filter. Style, high flyer. So these are our boys here. I'll even sort them by popularity. Sammy Guevara, Darby Allin, Mark Briscoe, Trevor Lee.
Ooh, we gotta get Trevor Lee in there.
Boy. To the moon.
Especially because he's gonna be drafted tonight.
I hope, man. I really hope. So he's a good one. He did me a favor when I was in high school. I let him he let me interview him, and I put him in there, and I think at the time
Did he charge you for that interview?
No, no one did. No one did.
Even then that's good on all that.
Shout out to Scott. Well, there was one guy in particular. I will tell the story infamously always. There was one man in particular who did want me to pay for his 10-second or 30-second interview or whatever.
Who was it?
It was going to be the boogie man, Jimmy Valiant. So he wanted me to go do his like training camp or something.
Jimmy Valiant of all people.
Jimmy Valiant, and
dude, that's probably the least out of all the people that you met that day. That's probably the least exciting name.
Keep in mind, so EC3 wasn't like a huge name at the time. Trevor Lee was just the.
But GFW. EC3 was still WWE talent at that point. He had already done WWE and had done NXT or not NXT done
Well, this was
Impact.
2016. So, let me see EC3. I don't think he'd went to WWE yet at this time.
No. But he was there before.
He was in what FCW was called.
And then he was on NXT when it was a game show.
Yeah, he went back to WWE in 2018 to 2020. He at the time was just doing some stuff in Impact. But this would be the year he would become TNA World Champion again, I believe. And so I mean he was a big deal. Trevor Lee was a big deal. In my opinion, the biggest deal was probably Scott Steiner and Jim Cornette. Shout out to Caleb Conley too. Can't forget him. But I know Cornette had just was funny as always. Had to censor him a little bit for high school. But Scott Steiner, infamously, this is where I have mad respect for Scott Steiner. He was working a deal with GFW, Global Force, and he had someone there who was like auditing, being like, "Oh, you gotta pay, you gotta do this," and But I asked him, I was like, "Hey, can I interview you?" And he was like, "Yeah." He's like, "You just gotta film my foot." And I remember at the time I had not known this, but Rainey actually took a picture of me talking to Scott Steiner, and we used that as the, you know, because I didn't want to have just a recording of his foot, you know. But I loved it because it was funny because he spent most of the time talking about how it wasn't fake because Loki kicked him in the throat or something. And
Oh yeah, dude, Loki almost killed him.
yeah, so I think yeah, I think he just had fun, just telling a great story of laying that off his back of how he felt, about Loki almost killing him. So I mean, but I guess you want to let that off your back if you almost die, and kicked in the throat, just like Jim Cornette wanted to talk about,
I
falling
mean,
off
I remember when Loki
scaffolds.
almost killed us all by making us have to watch him wrestle.
And dude, I liked his Hitman gimmick. You didn't like the Hitman stuff?
No, I thought that in general, Loki's always been a really weird dude, really
Yeah,
crazy deep voice.
he's got the
Looks like
Obama
a tiny
voice.
little dude.
Well, he's about my height, but he runs the Hitman gimmick and talks like Barack Obama. So what a
Yeah,
crazy concept put together. Um, and then I mean they had the thing in NXT and the girls at Caval. So he's had a crazy little story. I think I don't even know what he's doing nowadays, like MLW or something probably. Like
I
that's
think
like
he's an MLW.
I feel like that's where people end up. Oh, you never said Trevor Lee and who else? Who's Trevor Lee fighting? We were on
Oh,
that side
Trevor Lee
story.
and let's see, Trevor Lee.
Oh, we got Carolina boys. Yeah, Kip Conley, Darby, Sam Guevara, Kid Lycos, Jordan Oliver,
What
El
about
Ligero.
Chris Bay?
Chris Bay's a good one. So we give them about, give them about 10 minutes out there. Let's do some promo time. I'm gonna give some promo time. Let me go and turn off these filters here. Alphabetical. I do want to go and give some promo time to.
Shout out to that era of Impact Wrestling because I'm pretty sure that was our most entertainment we've got from wrestling in a lot, in the last 10 years.
I would love to get back more into Impact, but between just life getting more busier and
there's so
there's a
much
lot of
going on.
wrestling. There's a lot of fucking wrestling, honestly.
There's
dude.
way too much. Even me who doesn't watch AEW, I still have too much wrestling to watch.
Yeah, I mean, you watch NXT, as your replacement for AEW. I don't even, if it's a really busy Wednesday night, I don't even get to watch AEW. I try to watch it live. Yeah, but even then, if it's I know it's not gonna be too crazy, I'll watch the highlights for most stuff, like SmackDown, Raw. But even then I haven't really got to watch too much highlights of NXT or Impact. That just shows like how much goes on, and then like MLW, GCW, and everything else. So the occasional New Japan or something, or AAA with all their funny stuff going on. I saw a funny clip with Vampiro recently. So Liv Morgan, she'll go out there, she'll cut a promo.
And then one clip I sent you, did I send you that clip earlier?
Rebby. Yeah, with Masada catching
the
himself
dude
on
caught
fire.
himself on fire.
Is it bad to say I'm not surprised because it's
Did you watch the clip?
He's a hardcore guy. I did.
It looks crazy.
Hey, at least he wasn't like flinging himself towards the fans in that moment.
No, that was the thing. Is I was like, oh, geez, that could have been 10 times even worse. Like it was still bad, but it could have been so much worse.
Yeah, I don't know.
This is why you don't do fire in wrestling. I'm sorry.
Well, my thing is, if you're gonna do it, you need to have it heavily
it in the ring,
audited, and far away from the fans.
Yeah, you shouldn't do it right next to the fans. That's the last place you should do it.
But also, I think you have to look at is it worth it? You know what I mean? Because I would never want to do something crazy hardcore.
No. And I actually had this conversation. Is the spot worth the moment?
Yeah, that's where
it's and I actually had the same conversation about that whole Canadian Destroyer off the ladder that absolutely shattered that dude's leg.
Mm-hmm.
I think that was a stupid spot. Shouldn't have been done. There wasn't enough of a crowd there to warrant a spot of that nature anyway. And I guarantee you there weren't many more watching at home.
Mm-hmm.
and
Yeah.
that's because that's the only thing of the event that anyone is still talking about. That event's very like rememberable outside of that one botch moment.
Mm.
It was not worth it.
Whereas, like, for instance, if you take, Edge and McFoley, WrestleMania 22, it's WrestleMania. So, boom, the stakes are already higher. But it's already, like, going to be a memorable show for the ages. You know what I mean? Even then, you can make the argument with some of the Impact pay-per-views or some of the, or even being on TV is bigger than doing it locally. I know maybe that's like the niche, the flavor. Like if you go to Chikara, you kind of want more comedy, goofy stuff. If you go to CZW, you want more hardcore stuff. Like, no, it's the niche. I don't know exactly what the niche was for that show Masuda was at with the fire. But
Garbage wrestling.
I don't know if
garbage wrestling.
I don't know if it warranted.
Based on the attires, the setting, and the crowd, I'm gonna guess garbage wrestling.
We've watched a lot of backyard wrestling.
I've watched a lot of a lot of good wrestling, but I've also watched a lot of bad wrestling, and that definitely bordered on the bad wrestling.
Mm-hmm. And Masuda's, he's a no name though. It's not like, Tutti Frutti Jimmy Jones with a kendo stick that's made of barbed wire on fire. Like, he's actually a fairly well known name in the hardcore sphere. So, like, if you say names like him, Jun Kazai, Reiji Ido, oh my gosh, Connor Claxton, the newer one. I mean, of course, Onita. Depends how far back you want to go, like Jack Funk and McFoley and all them. I was thinking more like indie-ish guys, but nonetheless, let's try to get this first show breakdown done here. Like I said, I was just kind of talking wrestling. So we got a promo here, Liv Morgan champ, with Reby Sky. I think we need to cut to a fun segment backstage though, where Eddie Kingston, he's got his mom backstage, okay? And guess what it is? It's dinner time with the Kingstons, all right? I think that should be like our weekly, 9:00 on the dot, halfway through the show, like dinner time with the Kingstons. It can be kind of like a Miz TV, rotating guest. So Eddie Kingston is Mama. Who should be their first guest? Who you thinking? I think I'll let you go, and then I'll say who I'm thinking. That's my scroll line.
Let's think. Eddie Kingston and his mom, the first guest. What about a guy who knows so much about parents, Dominic Mysterio?
Yes. Okay. We have so many great ideas to go for. Like, I was gonna do Karen Q, and she has a pillow fight with Mama Kingston or something, or Benjamin Banks over here knows how to eat, But Dominic Mysterio, we'll start there. And he's actually not thugging Dominic right now. He's like preppy Dominic. I don't even know. So we'll have that segment there. And then we'll roll it into a match. Let's roll it into a match here. Let's do some women's action. Speaking of Karen Q, her, Jordan Grace, and Heidi Lovelace can have a triple threat here tonight. Okay. We still got a good bit of time left here. So, any angles in particular you want to make a concoction out of?
I'm still kind of getting a feel for the roster right now.
Okay, fair enough. No worries. I'll do a segment though, where it's a beatdown. Yep, tack. There we go.
Who's Zizou down there at the bottom?
Zizou. This is I believe Justin Gabriel's brother. So
interesting.
Yep. He is teamed with Otis. They're called ZZOs.
Ooh.
So, I don't know. We just need a tag team as bad. Let's do a segment here with Kevin Cross he's gonna go and he's gonna be attacking. Let's go Jungle Boy. Jungle Boy is a good guy to beat up.
Yeah, no one likes Jungle Boy.
They're gonna be like, "Oh my gosh, Jungle Boy's beat up before the main event. He's not gonna be."
Although there's still some clowns out there that think that guy's a world champion.
What would you do if they put the belt on Jungle Boy?
It solidifies everything I've ever told you about that stupid company, Dom. It would solidify everything I've ever told you.
Speaking of your favorite t-shirt company, okay? They put out a t-shirt recently.
Oh, I saw it.
Britt Baker, after she had a black eye. What's your take on it?
That's dumb, A.
Yeah.
B, it comes off as another copycat thing because WWE already did that with the Becky Lynch nose thing.
But why do you think it was more controversial with
because it looks like it literally looks like a domestic violence picture.
Yeah.
Whereas Becky's looked a little bit more wrestling and
smiling, you know.
This looks like a domestic violence picture.
Yeah. This is almost
if I would have seen the picture without any context, I would have thought Adam Cole beat the shit out of her. Although then I'd wonder how the hell that little tiny guy beat the shit out of her.
Well,
he might be smaller than her.
This is almost as rough as, remember Adam Rose was selling his mugshot t-shirt?
Yeah, like that. See, like it comes off as very corny. And it's everything. AEW should by now 100% be much more than competing with WWE right now, which they're not close at this point. That's my issue with the AEW. I gave them the chance because I thought, hey, they could maybe do this. But unfortunately, they're proving everything I said right.
Fair enough.
Now, because I was 100%, I'll admit, I was 100% very harsh at first with AEW. 100% didn't think Tony Khan is a guy I can't like him. I don't know why. He comes off very unlikable.
Maybe because he's just a rich guy.
And he comes off as a rich little daddy's boy.
Mm-hmm. Do you think
like, oh my god, like he seems like someone who 100% would say, "I'm gonna sue you." If you told him if I were to go up to him and tell him, "Hey man, I'm gonna be honest with you, AEW kind of sucks," I'm pretty sure he'd threaten to sue me.
Mm-hmm. Fair enough. I could see that. So I personally, I love AEW, but that's
I know, and that's the thing is, I will never like hate on you for like AEW because that's your thing.
I like it,
and you don't hate on me for not. Although because there's
NXT 2.0, yeah.
Well, yeah, and there's people out there who have downed on me for not liking AEW, just not even for the companies I do like, for the company I just don't like. And you respect the fact that I tried to because you've been there with me, I've tried to watch it multiple occasions. I can't get into it.
I dig it because it's a. You ever gone to a?
The problem is they're built on the surprise, and they don't know anything to do after the surprise. Like they'll get like the big surprise moment, and then it's like, well, okay, what do we do from here?
Mm-hmm. You're not wrong. Roderick Strong is probably gonna be the best example outside of.
Oh no, Roderick Strong's 100% gonna go missing, and like literally give it 4 to 5 weeks. You won't know Roderick Strong's even on the roster.
Mm-hmm. It's AEW is a buffet. You know what I mean? Like there's some stuff you can. Like a little bit here and there. You're not going to find the perfect ingredient.
It would have been a much better indie company than it would have been a company on television weekly.
Mm-hmm. Fair enough.
It would have been a much better indie company.
I think it had so much massive backing, though. You know what I mean? That it couldn't have been.
Yeah, that was the problem. Is it got too? The funniest part is the fact that. I think that there's gonna be and I've told Dane this. I think there's gonna be a mass exodus from AEW very soon. Because there's a lot of contracts coming up, and there's a lot of guys who are they're doing nothing.
I'm thinking this brand split, and I've said this for years. You can go back whether it be in some of our recordings or streams or just you and I talking, of course, but you can't really go back in that. Like I've said this for a long time.
Well, yeah,
AEW
they have
needs
over
a
100
brand
people.
split. Yeah, a storm in the chat, by the way, just said AEW has too much talent to be this poorly put together week to week. And
Exactly. That's
well,
that's
they're
my biggest
booking
issue. They have some of the best talent that's non WWE in the entire world.
they're booking what 5 shows. So we got Dynamite, we got Rampage because that's the key right there. It's like
We got what's the
Dynamite
new
number
one going to be
one,
called? What's it called again?
Collision, and
Collision.
it might as well just be the CM Punk show, right?
Yeah, well, yeah, it's
Um,
we're just gonna call it the CM Punk show at this point because he'll go over there with it'll be him, FTR, and then anyone else who hates
Young
the
Bucks,
Elite.
yeah. Um, then you have Dark and Dark Elevation, which I heard apparently that's on the way out. Both of them, not just Dark Elevation.
Oh yeah, well, and that's the thing is they it should have it's a long overdue. I understand it was great. It was great during like COVID, especially.
Elevation did not need to exist ever, in my
No, there
opinion.
was no reason for 2 of them.
Dark, yes, though, because one, it was really useful for COVID for indie workers.
Oh no, Dark was great for COVID, but now it serves kind of no purpose. And I'm guessing like I haven't recently looked at let me go look. I can probably go look at their reviews right now.
But also, Dark as a show is very. Have you ever been? You've never probably been to an AEW show. Dark is what
No.
starts off the show, okay? And it's a very nice, like, oh, okay, we got a little bit of wrestling here and there. We'll see some people, some local people. We'll see some people who aren't going to be on the show, but like, like when I went there, Ruby Soho wasn't on the show, but she wrestled a 35-second dark match. Her entrance was longer. That's nice to kind of see some people, but you can't really get invested in a 35-second match, and there's no promos also. Like if they had some promos, they had that, like they needed to build it like a show. I mean, they built it just pure wrestling, and 100% wrestling isn't gonna fly, sadly. You know what I mean? But if they had some dark feuds on there, and I think they had a couple here and there, but nothing like massive. I think the greatest thing to come out of Dark was Colton Gunn has a better win streak or a better win ratio than Kenny Omega or something. I think of it. Yeah, it's hilarious that Colton Gunn became the star out of this whole having Dark. With that being said, there's also the ROH. So that's another one. I don't even know if they are weekly or you know what I mean? It's just another. I'm looping ROH together with AEW, and that's a lot just from AEW, not even counting WWE, doing their stuff, and then everyone else's stuff.
Like the Dark
Impact,
from
New
1 month
Japan.
ago. The Dark from 1 month ago, even with being on YouTube for an entire month, still only 166K views.
Mm-hmm.
When you say the number 166K, that's a lot. In YouTube over a month, it's not for a company this big.
But also, yeah, for a company that big and for what they pull for,
because then there's even ones from even further down the line that are even smaller than that.
Well, the thing is, what they do with Dark is
like 2 weeks ago, Dark got only 93,000 views.
Dark is also like taped longer in advance, I believe. So like if they did a show right now today for Dark, it might be like 2 months down the line. You know what I mean? Don't quote me on that one, but that's, I think, the feeling of it, and also with Dark, it's showed as a premiere. It's not live like people might think when they see it's premiering live. And it's kind of just a little forgettable after a while. Like at first you're like, oh, Dark's on. It's the main event thing. They had a couple big names here and there start to get in, and then it just and that's where I think I was burned with watching Rampage. Was Rampage right out the gate with CM Punk, and then he never showed up ever again. So it was like, and I'm kind of worried. I'm like, is that gonna be the same thing with Collision? CM Punk shows up, and then does he get injured? Does he just not show up? Does he? Like, what's gonna happen? So I don't want to get burnt out on a Saturday night wrestling show too. You know, I know people have said things about it's a really bad time to put on a Saturday night wrestling show competing against what NBA, NFL, NHL, whoever knows whatever sports league. Doesn't bother me. Wrestling really is my only sport, but they all love demos and all that. So, whereas apparently I heard SmackDown beat out the draft, the real draft, right? For football.
Oh yeah.
So that's kind of crazy to think about, but I mean it's more expanding. So, all right, let's do a co-main event time. Co-main event tonight. Let's do. Well, let's talk about main event. Okay, who are you thinking for this FX title?
The FX title. Let's see.
Because I was thinking Kevin Cross and Jungle Boy for the match, but we could even just write it off as Jungle Boy got injured and someone takes in his place and fight Kevin Cross. So
let's do a Jungle Boy injury angle on that because I don't know if those two would work well in a ring together.
Okay.
And then let's go Cross and let's see who else we got here.
Let me do by best wrestlers. Kevin Cross ranks not too high up there, I think. Yeah. So we got Daniel Garcia, Davey Richards.
What about Chad Gable?
He's my world champion, actually.
Oh,
so,
yeah, no, never mind then.
You gotta give him a segment in a second.
Go up to the top. What about Jay Briscoe?
Okay. Yeah, sure. 20 minutes for the FX title. Sadly, Jay, you're losing that one to Kevin Cross. So
yeah, because Cross is, I'm pretty sure, in line for a pretty big push here.
Yeah. So that'll put us at a good spot for Chad Gable to have some promo time here.
Who's he in a feud with, or is he not in a feud with anybody?
He's not a feud right now. Let's have him. Maybe him and Danny Garcia, because Daniel Garcia is a 3-time.
Oh, that'd be a great feud. The in-ring work in that feud would be incredible.
Yeah, these two guys in particular. Chad Gable's on his first run with the title, just happened. And Daniel Garcia is altogether have held that belt over a year, 3 times. So keep in mind the save is like 7 years in, by the way. All right, let's do our co-main event, and then we're going to read a comment from Storm over here. So co-main event, let's do Daniel Garcia taking on, let's do Sammy Guevara. Give us a good 15-minute match out of that.
Sammy Guevara.
All right, boom and boom. There we go. Still 10 minutes left of ad revenue time, and there is our show. Let's run it here. But before we start here and talking and whatnot, Storm says TK is solely to blame. He'd rather be a friend than a boss.
Thank you. I like this guy in the chat. This guy in the chat, finally.
The fact FTR had an all-time run outside the company that they work for says enough. And you know what? He's not wrong in that regard, too. You know, it's very... You can't necessarily be your friend and the boss, just like EVPs can't be the people also wrestling, in my opinion.
Exactly. They've unfortunately made bad decisions from the get-go, and that's why they're still playing catch-up 4 years later.
Wrestling is not, football or basketball. Like, it sounds really weird. Like, imagine if Michael Jordan was also the owner of his team or whatever. I don't know how to relate it to, but imagine that. You'd be like, okay, but he still has to go out there and play, even if he's the owner of the team. Wrestling is completely predetermined, meaning that, if someone goes out there and stiffs you, you're going to be like, screw this guy, I'm not booking him next week. If Michael Jordan gets stiffed and karate kicked in the face, he can't say these people aren't, playing next week against people.
Yeah,
he
these
fought.
people are cut. Like,
You
because
know,
they're
he can cut
going to
his
say, well,
team.
dude, we can't.
You know, he can cut his team, but he can't cut, you know, the enemy team.
The league. Yeah,
But
he can't cut the league.
But everybody's on the same league in AEW. Yeah. So if,
Yeah.
you know, if this guy doesn't like this guy, he's not getting TV. He's not getting this, you know. So that's where I think that's not the best decision ever to make. And then I'm okay a little bit with being friends and buddies with like coworkers, bosses, all that, you know, but
you need to draw a fine line.
But wrestling, you know, you have to know you're in the wrestling business, not the wrestling friendship. You know what I mean? So that's kind of where, like, yeah. And in terms of FTR, yeah, their title run outside was great. I'm more actually bummed out that they made them stop doing their podcast. That's my disgruntlement on that whole thing of FTR had a pretty damn good podcast. Probably a little too controversial, maybe, and that's why I was like, hey, you gotta stop it. But did you ever watch Dax Harwood's podcast?
I did not. I heard good things about it.
Yeah, it was fairly good, and they had to stop it. So
yeah, and you notice how all of a sudden no one's saying anything about that.
Yeah, I guess
all of a sudden it got pushed under the rug. But when WWE tells people, hey, we can't really have you streaming, the whole world blows up. You would have thought that WWE told them that they're not allowed to breathe off the clock.
Storm has said, not to mention Meltzer's done so much damage internally as anyone by saccharine and only covering one side.
I was gonna say Meltzer is
I will never
is a huge detriment too.
I don't know why people use him as a go-to source for any and all.
Because especially now that the bias is 100% out there, like you can 100% see the bias anymore with some of these guys. It's like him, Sean Ross Sapp's another guy. I'm not big on him either.
Let me tell you this as a centrist, is what Bella calls me.
And Brian Alvarez, I hate Brian Alvarez because Brian Alvarez is a failed wrestler who somehow thinks that his opinion in wrestling matters.
Let me tell you this as a centrist, is what my sister would say, is you know, the way I view it is, it's like with Fox News and CNN. You want to have the extreme right and extreme left and kind of make your opinion in the middle. It's the same thing with wrestling. You got to have someone who absolutely hates AEW and someone who absolutely loves AEW and kind of see both perspectives. Sadly, though, there's not really like a big, I absolutely love the Elite and then absolutely hates the Elite side of camp of things. You know what I mean? When it comes to journalism. So
I think the Elite unfortunately made a lot of enemies over the last few years, and I think that they're eventually going to have to own up to a lot of the things they've done.
I think they'll definitely regret being EVPs and all that a little bit.
I think they're going to regret the things they've said about WWE.
I think about it this way, Cody. You know what I mean? Cody jumped ships
but Cody is the one who, and I will, because Cody was the one who I've told you from the start, you could tell Cody really kind of wanted to go back to WWE. You could tell the whole time.
I think definitely after the fans turned on him.
Oh no, it was that was when it became obvious. But you could tell that there were certain things where, when everyone else was saying everything, Cody was keeping quiet.
Mm-hmm.
You never heard him say anything. You would hear Kenny would make a joke, and then Cody completely disappeared from being the Elite because he just wasn't in for those games anymore. He was here to work.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that eventually they're going to have to realize, hey, Tony might like Punk more than them.
Well, I mean, if I paid $3 million,
I was gonna say, I think Tony is, that's the one where he's starting to slowly become kind of a businessman and less of a friend.
Mm-hmm.
But
Even if Punk
unfortunately, I
said,
feel like all he's gonna do is replace his friendship with the Elite with his friendship with Punk,
even
and that might be even
if
more insufferable.
even if Punk said some crazy off the wall things during that media scrum, which absolutely sucked
Dude,
to hear.
Punk made
So,
Tony Khan look like an idiot on live TV.
and I think that was a little too much. And then you add the fight on top of it,
Like I
everything
hate Tony
blew
Khan,
up.
but I felt bad because he looked lost during that
Mhm.
whole scrum.
Yeah, but that's the problem is now you've given the guy the Hogan treatment. You know what I mean? So
I'm telling you, there's gonna be there's a long list of guys who I don't see being in this company, and by the time January's here.
mhm. The only thing that's gonna save a lot of people is a brand split. You know what I mean? That's
I
the
think
only thing.
that's gonna save some people. That's gonna band aid some things, but then eventually it's just gonna be,
It
hey,
it'll just happen
now
again.
because think about it, all these television shows you're gonna get lost in the shuffle because people got to choose what they want to watch. I don't like that Saturday time slot in general.
I don't like the Saturday time slot, but if it's the only way I'm gonna be able to see
I
FTR
was
the
gonna say,
Punks,
yeah. If that's
Jericho,
the only way you're gonna be able to see
you
Punk
know.
and I guess Jericho and FTR, because Jericho has apparently said that he'd work with him.
Yeah, because I mean there's money to be made. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, Jericho. I will say that about him. He is the most willing to do whatever guy.
Mm.
That came over from WWE to AEW. He's the one who's just like, you know what? I'll do it. I don't care.
My question is, how do they handle pay-per-views? You know what I mean? Are we splitting up pay-per-views? Um, which is already not a bunch. And what the hell is Rampage? Like, is Rampage just the
Rampage needs
spillover from
canceled too,
Dynamite?
probably.
Like,
I would honestly say Rampage probably needs canceled too.
really? Or do you turn Rampage into your Dynamite or not Dynamite, your dark elevation where it's just the side guys? Like you'll have your big heavy hitters, you know. Wednesday you got the Elite and I was about to call them the Bullet Club, the BCC Blackpool Combat Club, and then you got the Jericho Appreciation Society and the Punk Camp with FTR and whoever else.
Well, that's the thing
On
is
Saturday,
do you think the BCC is going to stay in Dynamite or are they going to go to ROH?
no, didn't I? No, there's
Because
too there's
isn't
too much
Claudio
star
still the
power.
champion?
Um, give me a second on that one. I'm gonna look that one up. I actually let's see.
I was gonna say, I genuinely don't know. I knew he was
I know
champion at one.
Kingston didn't win it. He should have won it because I feel like that was gonna be something good for him. Um, Claudio Castagnoli is the current ROH champion. Yeah. I don't think they'll go to that. You know, go there. Um, I mean, it should just be Rampage ROH at this point. Like, uh,
I think that was stupid for him to bring back ROH. Sometimes companies just need to be dead.
mhm.
I think ROH ran its course. AEW is basically kind of taking that ROH place as a bigger outlet.
Okay, here we are. RH titles. Shibata, so I knew that one. The RH Pure Champion. Athena is the women's world champion. Claudio is the world champ. The Embassy is the 6-man tag team, which is Brian Cage, Bishop Khan, and Toa Linoa. The Lucha Brothers are the world tag team champs of ROH, and Joey Shimoe is a TV champ. So that gives those guys something to do in ROH. And really, they don't need to be in ROH. You know, those are all AEW heavy hitter names. But because you have such a massive roster,
You
even
got to
a
have
guy,
25 shows.
even a guy like Claudio and a tag team like Lucha Bros and a guy like, you know,
Samoa
Smojo,
Joe.
not counting Shibata, even Athena. You know what I mean? She could be up there feuding, you know, more. I mean, she did the Jay Cargill feud. She could be out there feuding with whoever else. Literally, like those are some pretty heavy hitter.
The problem is they have flavor of the month booking in that company.
Yeah, yeah, and that's
You
why I'm
get great
worried.
booking for your first month, and then after that, you're just kind of there.
That's why I'm kind of worried. I don't want this to be the MJF flavor of the month title reign, where all of a sudden, you know what I mean, Jungle Boy.
All of a sudden, they move on from it.
You know, or all of a sudden Darby or Sammy, and it's like
I was going to say, question
still,
now though, does this mean that we're going to get another world title if we're getting 2 shows?
Most definitely. I don't see why MJF would bounce around between 2 shows when he's already made it clear in character. You know, I don't want to show up to this show. You know, because like, hold the title, make the most amount of money possible, do the least amount of work.
There's just it's gonna get very close to a time where there's gonna be a lot of people that are gonna have no more excuses. And that's what I've always said. I think that's my joke. I've always said the E in AEW stands for is excuse. And eventually those run out.
Yeah. All right. So that was our first. Made it to our first episode of HWW Breakdown. Storm in the chat says TK should have had the Bucks by the balls. It's proven they tank ratings and they've burned every other bridge to walk down as well. Apparently the Bucks aren't too welcome back at New Japan, either rumor says.
It's because they're immature and they probably made a bunch of like they probably threw a bunch of pot shots at New Japan, just like they've done with WWE.
Mm-hmm. Ooh, made a lot of money during that show.
Geez, so much money.
We made 300.
What kind of network deal we got? They're sending us all kinds of cash.
We got 300K. We got an attendance of 8, almost 9K, and I believe we have to hit a.
We get 110,000 every week.
Income per show, 110K. Ooh, that's some good money right there. Well, actually,
so overall we got like 400 and something K.
Well, it says we got 311K in ticket sales.
Well, yeah, that's not including from the network, which is the 100K.
Yeah, because the network will be network deal.
So we made about $500,000 in just one show.
Yeah, so we're gonna be jumping up money pretty quickly. Also popularity, but we're on a really good network, and that's just pay-per-view. We haven't got that's just on TV. We haven't got the pay-per-view yet. And now's the time where we're probably going to start upping this stuff though for
we got some mild breaking news.
Cameras and all this. What is it?
As of today, officially AEW original Leva Bates contract has expired.
And that's another prime example of AEW originals, like people. It's weird to say like Margo Stunt, Joey Janela, people like that, on their way.
Well, they got pushed to the side immediately when AEW started bringing in all these other former WWE guys.
Well, you think about it this way: Joey Janela was feuding. He had big stuff. Maybe not feuding, but he had a big match.
Joey Janela is someone who has been doing great things and showing how great he can be as it pertains to, like, even the backstage stuff with Game Changer.
Mm-hmm.
And they just dropped they dropped the ball on him because they didn't know what to do.
Yeah, and they just kept getting more and more people. So people like him, of course, were going to get phased out. I'm surprised Peter Avalon's still around, honestly.
As funny as it is, WWE's mass firing might have honestly hurt AEW more than it hurt WWE.
Yeah. Yeah, well, it definitely...
They signed like half those guys.
it's weird because you get paid still, right? It's a very weird thing. Like you get paid even though you're at home. But I know a
But that's
lot of
still like
people like you
like
want
if
to
you're
go to
getting paid,
wrestling,
but you're
right?
not really you're not growing as a worker,
You're not growing your experience, growing your net worth. Like
and you're not
you're getting
and you
paid, but
become
you're
less
not
and less valuable each week that you're not on.
exactly. So but I believe though, like if a guy like Miro, like once they hit that certain like threshold, probably like if Miro came back this week, he might not be believable and come back in like the world title scene, but because he was champion probably. But if he came back and was like, I'm gonna go and crush Samoa Joe over in ROH land, that's believable. He wants to go and fight Wardlow or Powerhouse Hobbs, that's believable too. But I feel like he's really probably capped and limited by a lot of those guys. You're not gonna see him face or want to go down
I
to
just thought it was
face
funny how surprised everyone
international
was to
title.
see Roddy Strong in AEW acting like it was like a shock jump over there when he ain't been on NXT television since like August.
Well, he's still listed on their website. You see that?
Oh yeah, I don't even think they've. I don't know. I don't know about that one. I don't even think they even mess with that one. I feel like they just don't even mess with that ever.
Mhm.
But in general, like I thought, like I honestly forgot he was even in NXT because I watch NXT every week, and when you haven't seen someone since August, and it's now at that point it was April, you forget about him.
Yeah, I thought he was still with the Diamond Mine or whatever it's called.
I figured he quietly retired.
Well, they're getting the boys back together.
They're gonna sign Bobby Fish back after what he did to him.
Well, if he stays on the Dynamite show, I imagine,
I was gonna say,
because he
well,
won't
you
have to
know
go to
what
the
happened
CM
the
Punk
last
show.
time, though, right?
Yeah, did you see him kicking out of that GTS?
No, no. Oh, you didn't hear about this, dude? So he had went to uh Adam Cole and Kyle O'Reilly about going back to WWE when Triple H took back charge,
Oh, yeah. I remember that now,
and
yeah.
then that's when they let him go.
Dang. Yeah, you can't do that, man. Like,
Yeah, like that. It was like, are you kidding, man? I mean, I love the thought because I mean that'd be hilarious. Tony would be like, "Oh, what the hell?" But man, you got to have some balls to randomly show up in a company and want to do that.
randomly show up, get signed, say, "Hey, Triple H is running the show. Let's go back there." Like, not knowing that Adam Cole probably has a contract for years. I don't know how long
Oh
he
no, Adam
has.
Cole. That's the thing is Tony signs these 6-year deals probably for this exact reason because he knows that he honestly is in over his head booking, and he's like, well, dude, if I can lock these guys down for 5 years, they'll have nothing to do.
Speaking of locking down people, Tommaso Ciampa, welcome to the home of professional wrestling. Since your deal with HOPW or not HP, AEW just ended, welcome to the party. And start you off. I always put them down in enhancement talent just because it improves their morale as they go up. Honestly, because it's more of a morale thing on their push. But we'll start them off there. And I'm not going to be Tony Khan. I'm not going to give him an 8-year deal or something. But we'll give Tommaso Ciampa. We'll give him a year. See how he goes. He works best as a heel, and I think he's probably an arrogant heel. So there we go. WWE is giving him a counter offer. We're gonna compete with that, and there we go. And that's the only thing I would like is maybe besides like the aggression back and forth and just clicking the button, a little bit more with like a contract room, going back and forth. Uh, Merker morale. Let's start giving out some food and catering, travel expenses, and medical expenses. There we go. Because then we have some money, some merchandise, which hasn't showed up anyone else yet. I do want to go to Mr. Tommaso Ciampa. Storm said everything that MJF said in his pipe bomb promo holds up today. What do you think about that one?
What was that?
Everything MJF said in his pipe bomb promo holds true today.
Oh, it's 100% true. And I don't know why Tony would let someone cut that promo. It embarrasses the company because it's true. I don't know if he gets it or if he's too snowed to realize it.
Honestly, man, that's crazy. Not only let him cut that promo,
The fact that you
world
let
title
him
on it.
cut promo, putting your company down when they're all very valid points,
and going up there and giving him the world title afterwards, like.
well, I think because
crazy.
I'm fairly certain that he has not re-signed with AEW. I think that the next year could be very interesting in professional wrestling. I'm pretty sure he's coming to join his old buddy Cody in WWE.
Oh yeah.
That's the one who I'm 100% set on that one. There's people who are I figured FTR wasn't going to come back to WWE. I figured that they like their schedule. They like it's much lighter on them, and they both are very family oriented guys.
Mm-hmm.
AEW works better for them.
Yeah.
But with MJF, who's young, has nothing else to do, just has money to make at this point, WWE is the place.
I think that's the best part of being young. You can go here, spend a couple of years there, come over there, spend a couple of years there.
Yeah, like he could go to WWE after this deal and sign like a 4-year deal, be there the next 4 years, and then maybe even go back to AEW or go somewhere else after that. Because he's still got lots of years left. FTR, unfortunately, does not have many years left.
Yeah,
they're both in their mid-30s
as a tag team too. You know,
I was gonna say they're both in their mid-30s. They don't seem like guys that I see wrestling up into their 50s and mid-40s.
Here's another thing too. Speaking of the CM Punk show and all that, Punk is currently 44 years old, and he wrestles a bit of a more dangerous style. You know, or he's even willing to go. You know, a dog collar match here. You know, a technical match over here. Do some dives. You know, over here. Like he might be 44, but he is trying to wrestle like he is 24, like my age, and I'm all for giving your body for it.
And the problem is that meant that those years off of wrestling killed him.
Yeah, like if he would have kept up with that, I think he'd probably still be safe in a lot of that dangerous stuff he's doing. But
unfortunately, he was already getting old in wrestling, and then took almost a decade off.
Yeah. So and that's.
I'm obviously not going to claim I know his training regimen outside of wrestling, but I'm just going to guess that he definitely wasn't keeping up with his in-ring stuff while he was not wrestling.
Mm-hmm. So I'm very curious to see what they do with them, you know, on the Saturday show. I'm curious if they'll have the balls to introduce a new title and put it on him immediately. You know what I mean? I am very curious to see if that is going to transpire. Because that is going to be
if Tony has the ball, I will give him credit for that, because
to make a TV show
that would get more scrutiny than it's even worth.
Mm-hmm. That is insane, to instantly have a TV show for an individual and give him the title instantly. You know what I mean? That is mind blowing. But it's also like, okay, do we have a new tag team titles also? Because it wouldn't make sense to have tag team titles over here and then, not be over here unless you're going to do tag team titles over here and trios titles over there, which they could do, right? So, I don't know. Who really knows? Who really knows? I mean, they can kind of split it some good ways. TBS title right here, women's title over here, Dynamite title over here, international title over here, trios titles over here, tag team title over here, but there's still that world title. It's like Felix said in the chat, Punk underestimated the younger generations. No disrespect to Stain for boomer advice. He's too old school. I could see that. Fair enough. And the generation nowadays is much cockier. You know what I mean? I don't know if you ever talked to any young person, like my cousin. more
Yeah.
cockier than I thought our generation was very cocky. I don't know about your generation, Chris, because you and I.
My generation is
decade
cocky,
ago.
but we back it up.
Yeah.
My generation will go out and do it. This current generation growing up is guys that'll do a lot of talking with no backing it up.
Mm-hmm. It's more of like a MJF, a lot of talk, but then gonna need like an extra, heavy hitter in the room just to catch you off guard.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but even though to a point, I mean, when Punk was out there in what 2008 even, like I'm curious how much advice he consumed. Like I would love to hear who he thought was the greatest voice in the room in 2008 that he would listen to.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'm pretty sure. Like for as much crap as he gives people about not want to take advice, he doesn't seem like someone who took much advice when he was younger.
I'm very curious, if to sit down and be like, okay, who when you're not when you're world champion, not 2011 2012 whatever, like CM Punk. I'm talking like straight edge society even before that, run around ECW, like maybe even before ECW World Punk, or maybe at the same time, like who was like the guy to be like, oh, he gave me great advice. I'm very curious, you know what I mean? Because I think there's a lot of knowledgeable people in AEW that aren't wrestling that would be willing to give their advice. Because I feel like in WWE there's so many people that were wrestling. There might not be as much like nowadays. Triple H ain't wrestling. I mean, given you might not be able to talk to him because he's so busy. Shawn Michaels, you know what I mean? Michael PSAs, all the legends. Given there's some legends like Ray and Edge are, wrestling. But like, if you go backstage in AEW, I think that's what I'll applaud them with is there's a lot of people, who've hung up their boots, whether permanently or temporarily, like Christopher Daniels, or even people like who kind of pick apart their brain, like Arn Anderson, when they had Tully, people like that, where I'd be very curious to see, what advice they gave. But even then, like it kind of goes into the who's in what camper you're at, right? So.
Oh yeah.
Because whose camp are you giving advice to? And then if you're not listening to them, you're like, oh, you're not listening to that guy's advice. So. Phoenix said the olds, they just don't understand, and that's what makes it fun. All right, my party people. Well, we have a Monday Night Raw. I'm going to grab some dinner. I'm going to save the game. It's been great talking. We literally booked only one show. But
that's okay. We had a nice little conversation.
I think we need to do more of this. Hopefully more booking at the same time, but it's still good to just talk wrestling and whatnot, talk with you guys. We're going to go watch the draft.
Let's get some more NXT call-ups.
Sadly, I wish I'd be able to stream afterwards, talk about the draft like old times, but I gotta work, man. I'm gonna be honest with you. So, like, we're gonna watch the draft, have a great time. We'll probably see you guys in the next upcoming days and whatnot, or maybe another stream here and there And yeah, we'll see y'all next time. Peace out, people.